Hello, everybody. Good morning, 3B. How are we today? Alyssa and Julie are here. Luke is here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Checkity check, check, check. Oh, YouTube. So problematic. Hey, Lucas. Ryan, welcome. Good morning. Oh. So I'm just checking things on my end. Yesterday, YouTube was having some issues. So a couple of my streams sputtered a bit. If that happens now, I apologize. Just doing a quick speed test while I'm waiting for other folks to join us. Mike, hello, good morning. Bop, bop. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna move. I know there's some people that are still coming. They might join us a little bit late, but hey, Fred, good morning. The joy of YouTube is that it's archiving all this, so it'll be saved for later reference. So I'll get moving. If they join, they join. They can always catch back up. I'm just trying to keep an eye on how finicky YouTube is being right now. So if I'm bouncing between windows a bit, I apologize. So just wanted to start with a light discussion. Aiden, hello. What did you guys think of the TV show, the episode of Sports Night that I left for you? I'm curious to hear what your initial thoughts were. Emily, good morning. So I'll pause for a second, give you guys a chance to chat or talk in the chat. Chat in the chat. Pretty interesting. Lucas, what did you find interesting about it? Tesliana, good morning. So if you're just joining us, I had asked what you guys thought about the episode of Sports Night that was left. Kind of weird. Explain, Mike, what was weird about it? It was easy to answer the questions while watching. Okay, good. I tried to ease up on the questions a little bit, only because if there's one thing maybe you guys noticed this when you were watching, characters in this show talk very fast and very quick after one another. So I don't know if any of you found that confusing or made it difficult to watch. So Taylor, I'm glad to hear that you thought it wasn't that difficult. Volume is low, Lucas? Yeah, let me bring that up just a little bit here. Thank you for the heads up. Check one, check. Check one, check. I'll talk a little bit closer to the mic too, is probably why. Tess, you thought it was awful? Tell me why you didn't like it. And Wolf Dracofire, whoever you are, hello. Maybe logged in on the wrong YouTube account. James, good morning. Okay, that's a fair thing. Not really knowing the characters. Yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to jump into the middle of a show. This was actually episode 5 of season 1, so it wasn't too far into the development of the characters, which is actually beneficial because I don't, there's no like inside relationships you really need to know too much about that like are part of the story. But I can see it being kind of weird to jump in right in the middle there. It's an excellent series. Unfortunately, it's not available to stream anywhere. I think you can like rent it on Amazon, but that's about it. I have the DVD series from back in the day because it's one of my favorite TV shows. So the story is actually based on real life incidents that took place. The fictional character Christian Patrick, who they were trying to bring on the show to boost their ratings in light of what he did, was based on a NFL player named Christian Peter. If you look them up, they actually look kind of similar too, which is weird. But Christian Peter was a player who was drafted, I want to say it was Tennessee or Nebraska, that was drafted in 1996 by the New England Patriots, and they drafted him knowing his history with some issues in college. Supposedly he had raped a young woman, a lot of disorderly conducts, alcohol abuse, and things like that. And so when they drafted him, the press kind of went nuts, and people in Boston just kind of voiced their concern. And so within a week, he had a week of being drafted. He was, I guess, celebrating at a bar where he choked somebody, and New England was like, "All right, we're done. See you later." And if he's not the only, he's one of the few people that were released after being drafted and never got a chance to even report to like training camp. Some players will get drafted and they'll get cut, but before any of that, he was actually released. So that character and that whole situation was based on a real life person. And the reporter, in the story that you watched, was played by Natalie. She actually referenced a female reporter. I don't know if you caught the conversation with her and the character Jeremy in the editing bay about how everything was going to be fine, and she was saying it's not going to be fine. And she referenced this reporter who, interestingly enough, or ironically enough, reported for the New England Patriots and ended up, because of harassment and death threats, moving. And Natalie mentioned it in the show, she moved halfway across the world. This reporter was being forced upon in the locker room. She was there to do post-game interviews, and a lot of the football players on the team at the time thought it would be humorous or entertaining or funny to just kind of expose themselves and walk around naked, in her presence and make her uncomfortable. So when she complained, everyone attacked her for being somewhere she wasn't supposed to be. Reporter in the locker room, a woman in the locker room, and people got nasty. The team got nasty, and even fans got mean. So she picked up and moved and went to Australia and lived for a while doing some new stuff there. She was there for a decade or so before coming back. She actually ended up working for the New York Post for a little bit, alongside Mike Lupica. I know he's a reporter for the Post. You might know the name. So that whole episode was kind of based on stuff that really happened. So if you want to, if you found that interesting, then look into that story. Christian Peter ended up playing for the Giants after he was released for a couple of years. So he's got some history with our local team. But I'm hoping you found it at least like a change of pace, something a little bit different. I was really looking at your answers to the last question in regards to ethics and morality in the media. And so just to share with you your thoughts on that, because what you had to say I found very interesting and figured it'd be worth sharing with you. So these come right from your answers as a class, and I think one maybe from another class. Because that's where our next assignment is going to take us a little bit. This is what you had to say. So the first one I thought was very astute. The media has a lot of power when it comes to controlling the flow of information, but it is their responsibility to report it effectively and truthfully. Good reporters take advantage of this power and responsibility. I think this is very aptly stated. just be very careful with the mindset. When we use the phrase take advantage of this power, it's usually almost always in a negative connotation. And reporters don't take advantage of power. They leverage their power to report accurate and truthful stories. A lot of you said that the media has too much responsibility or too much control or too much power. And there's some truth to that, in that, like, who's policing them? And the second person here agrees. I do think the media has a bit too much power in terms of control of the flow of information. They can decide which stories to discuss, what to include, and how to discuss them, and how long or to what degree. And there's truth to that as well. But the one thing I want you to just think about with this takeaway is that we put the trust in them to make professional decisions, much like your teachers right now are being trusted to make professional decisions on what they think is best suited for their students. And even with all the online stuff, there's no template for this. There's no rule book for this. It'd be unfair to say we're making it up as we go, but as professionals, this is what we're asked to do, and we will do the best that we can to our ability. Journalists kind of fall under that same blanket. Now they're backed with a code of ethics, and we'll talk about that in a sec. I am going to switch off the screen just to make sure the stream's still going okay. For a sec here, but I wanted to get to the last one first. The media has to report the truth because their responsibility is to make sure that people are informed with facts. And that's the key word there, is with facts. Reporting something that you don't like, but it's true, is still your responsibility. And part of where the news gets skewed today is that people will just ignore things that they don't like or fit their agenda, regardless of it being true, because they don't want to push that as their agenda. And so it becomes a little murky in maybe even trying to pick a news station. And you guys might be familiar with some affiliations that news stations tend to lean. And there's some truth in that. But pay attention to what's going on in the world now, as a lot of reports from news stations are about reporting from other news stations and how things were inaccurate or misrepresented, or now we're flip-flopping. I think the line in the episode that was so poignant was when Dana came in and was arguing with the anchors. Her phrasing was, news is news. I can't choose not to report it just because it happened to us. And I think there's a lot of value in knowing that regardless of how you feel about something, the truth is the truth, regardless if you agree with it or not. And that's a problem that a lot of people have now, is that they will hear something as a factual statement and decide to say, no, I don't believe it. And you're within your right to do so, but with the understanding that educated people are going to look at you and go, you're denying the truth. Truth is not up for debate. Science is not up for debate. These things are factual, and they're grounded in evidence to support that. So to disregard it is a little irresponsible. I'm just going to pause for a sec here and flip back, make sure we're still kicking. Oh, we are. Okay, good. Awesome. All right. We'll press on. I'm keeping it short today. I did want to get through some stuff, though. So these were your words, and I want to share with you their words. And by their, I very simply mean there is an organization. All right, it's called the Society of Professional Journalists. This is an organization that has been around since 1909, and they have their own subsect or subsidiary of this organization for telecommunications, meaning radio news broadcast and television news broadcast. And this was their preamble to their code of ethics. Members of the Society of Professional Journalists believe that public enlightenment is the forerunner of justice and the foundation of democracy. Ethical journalism strives to ensure the free exchange of information that is accurate, fair, and thorough. An ethical journalist acts with integrity. Now, the phrasing in their public enlightenment, I underlined. I thought that was the key word there, in that You may be hearing information that you don't agree with, that you don't think is real, which is sad, or that goes against your beliefs and morals and ethics. But public enlightenment, and enlightenment just means to, I don't want to say academically, but arguably it means to simplify, to make better. All right. So if you're informing someone of something by virtue of them gaining information that they didn't have prior, they are now a better person. And to be informed, all right, is a very high hallmark of our society. And so if they take their job seriously, where they are trying to make people better by passing along information that is true, not molding them to their own beliefs, all right, but giving them factual information and letting them make a decision on how they feel about it, that's their goal as journalists. And so that code of ethics I mentioned gets very detailed, and I want to pull out what they brand as the 4 pillars. I won't get into each pillar individually. I'm going to send you guys, with your assignment that will be posted, a PDF of their code of ethics. It is absolutely worth a look through, especially if, to your own personal preference, you don't tend to trust the news. I would scan through and at least give that a quick glance over. All right, so their code of ethics has 4 pillars. Seek the truth and report it. Seek the truth. Don't wait for it to show up on your doorstep, all right? A good journalist is going to go out and find the truth, all right? Minimize harm. They want to make sure that they're reporting in such a way where information is going out and it's accurate, of course, all right, but they're doing so in a way that doesn't cause people, and look at our current situation, to panic, to overreact, or to incite harm and violence to others. And so in reference to the statement that someone in class had put, they're going to talk about some of this stuff as early and often as possible to prepare people. But there still is part of that responsibility that they may be slower in giving information out if they feel like it can cause a lot of damage or danger. That's not to say they're going to withhold it entirely, but there is some of that pacing that goes on there. Act independently. A lot of journalists do act. They may work for an organization, but they tend to act independently. They're almost their own boss in regards to how they go about getting the stories they do and covering it the way that they do, and of course injecting their own personality into how to write that or deliver that. So in that sense, journalists are to some degree on their own. Number 4, be accountable and transparent. You want to be transparent in where you get information from. Who are your sources, if you're able to say who they are? And then if there are mistakes, own up to them. A journalist is only as good as their word, and if their word is crap, it's a very hard profession to be in if you're one that can't be trusted or is known for skewing stories or not being truthful. You're hard pressed to continue in that line of work. So that puts us then for our assignment, and I'll go over it quickly. Stream is healthy. Okay, good. All right. So what I want you guys to do is watch the news. And there's a lot going on in the world, and it's all very centered around this one thing, which makes this assignment more interesting this year than in years I've done it past. But I want you to sit down and watch one full news broadcast. You can do this anytime between now and then when the assignment is due. So today's Thursday. You guys actually have the luxury of, today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you can take your time with it. You have your choice of which day, but you're going to be watching a newscast for 1 hour. All right. Now the assignment itself is best completed if you can record it. So if you're watching it at home on TV and you have a cable box, if you can DVR it, that might help you if you need to go back and reference some stuff. Finding it online might be a little bit tough, but we're going to persevere. So the assignment's on Classroom now, but let me break down a few things just so it might be a little bit easier for you. All right. I would strongly recommend doing a local news broadcast. You're going to have a more diverse lineup of stories Okay, so that would be, Fox 5 versus Fox News. Fox 5 is located out of New York. There are regions, Fox local station. ABC 7 is the same, versus ABC News. Pix 11 is a good local news station as well. You're going to have more diversity in story. You're going to want to tune in at the top of the hour. All right, so if you want to watch even this afternoon, if you want to watch the 12 o'clock news, go for it. All right. After that, they tend to pause for some other programming, but the news cycle usually picks back up at 4, 5, 6, 10, and 11 o'clock. If you're going to go in the AM, and I did have a student email me this yesterday after class ended, she was like, could I watch the 7 o'clock news, like 7 a.m. news? Absolutely. Just know that in the morning, from 8 o'clock on, it tends to get a little morning showy, entertainment-esque, and so there's a little bit less news there. So you want to stay away from like Good Morning America, for example, as a news option. But the news on ABC prior to that, jump right in if you want, okay? I'm going to move through the worksheet quickly with you just so you have an understanding of how to fill it out. But you want to look over that before you start watching so you know what it is you're looking for, all right? We'll bounce over here. Okay, great. So, all right, we're all on the same page. The tips I put here for you as well, all right? And then I kind of did it as an outline form, which might make it a little bit easier for you. It's a little bit less formal. Now, I still want you to use like proper sentence structure and everything, okay? But there are questions here that obviously you're not going to need full sentences for, right? The first question, what newscast did you watch? You don't have to integrate this into like a 5-paragraph essay. Down below, it says there's a blank outline to fill out, which I even kind of started as an example last time. So you can fill this out as you need to. The first question here, which newscast did you watch? Channel, time, and date. Okay, well, I watched Fox 5 on Thursday, March 19th at 4 o'clock. Boom, that part's done, all right? How many stories were there? And yes, please keep count. What I would recommend is have tally marks, like on a notepad. You're going to want to keep track of local stories, national stories, and then global stories. So, hey, they're talking about coronavirus in Italy. Boom, global story. They're talking about it in America, national. They're talking about it in New Jersey. We're here on local. Okay, so let me know how many of those stories there were total. Okay, but like essentially the first part, of course, is going to be a little bit looser. All right, the critique part is the part that's going to be a little bit more in depth. But you can answer that in complete sentences. Just do it as like short answers. You don't need to worry about trying to mold that into a longer paragraph or anything. So that's that in a nutshell. Now I'm going to bounce back over to our chat to see if we have any questions on that. So I'll hang here for a sec as the video catches up, and then you can let me know if we have any questions. Stop spinning that. We have to watch an hour of news broadcast. That is correct. Do you have to do the outline? By Michael, when you say do the outline, you mean follow the blank outline? Then I would recommend it. I mean, those are the specific questions that I'm looking for, but also it makes it a little bit easier so that you don't have to try and creatively integrate all that information into, say, like a formal paper. Does that make sense? Please let me know if it doesn't. I'll try and explain it a little bit better. And so part of the reason why I chose this as a project, one, again, something that we would normally do in our unit that wasn't condensed, but also I want you guys to if you don't normally or don't in this capacity, right, as a lot of us get our news from social media and other outlets, to watch televised news. That's what you guys were making in the studio. So this might be something that you don't do normally, and that's okay. That's a good thing, right? It's good exposure there. Okay, Michael, thank you for letting me know. We understand. Perfect. Chain. I don't get it. I don't get it, Lucas. What do you mean? All right, so no questions coming through the chat, so here's what we'll do. All right, we'll officially wrap on today's lesson. Okay, of course, it's on YouTube if you want to reference the more detailed directions on the assignment itself. But if you want to go and start reading over that, start prepping yourself. I don't know what your 12 o'clock class looks like, but you might have an opportunity to get started on this sooner rather than later. So if you want to back out of the stream, good luck with the assignment. All right, it'll be due before the start of next class on Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. I really hope you guys find an opportunity to get outside and do some stuff, because I know it's kind of cruddy out now, but just being inside, especially on a computer most of the days, it's not a good thing. So get out there, get some exercise, but feel free to email me at any point between now and Monday if you have questions on the assignment. All right, I'll hang back in the chat for a little bit if any other questions pop up while you're looking at that. Otherwise, we'll say formally that our stream will be over soon, and we'll see you guys next class. All right, I'll be here, but it'll be over shortly. Thank you, guys.